The civil rape trial involving former President Trump is now underway. E. Jean Carroll claims Trump sexually assaulted her in a department store.
Will Trump really pay E. Jean Carroll $5 million? A federal court just made a huge decision and he's running out of options. A federal appeals court has just shut down Donald Trump's latest attempt to escape accountability, denying his appeal and ordering him to pay writer E. Jean Carroll $5 million for sexual assault and defamation. So what is this whole drama about? This decision is marking another legal setback for the presumptive Republican presidential nominee. The decision, issued on Friday by the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Second Circuit, leaves intact a 2023 jury verdict that found Trump liable for sexually assaulting Carroll in the 1990s and later defaming her by dismissing her claims as a hoax. The ruling comes after Trump sought a rehearing before the full appellate court, following an earlier rejection by a 3-judge panel. The court did not provide an explanation for its decision, though 2 of the 13 judges, both appointed by Trump, dissented, arguing that the refusal to rehear the case represented a significant departure from legal precedent. Carroll, an 81-year-old former magazine columnist, accused Trump of attacking her in a Manhattan department store dressing room decades ago, and then smearing her reputation in a 2022 social media post where he denied the incident, calling her allegations a fabrication and stating she was not my type. This latest development leaves the U.S. Supreme Court as Trump's final avenue to contest the $5 million judgment. Separately, he is also appealing a 2024 defamation verdict that ordered him to pay Carroll an additional $83.3 million after a jury found him liable for further damaging statements.
A federal appeals court today upholding a $5 million civil verdict that writer E. Jean Carroll won against President-elect Donald Trump. A jury awarded the sum to Carroll after finding Trump liable for sexually abusing her and then defaming her after she went public with the allegations. Mr. Trump has denied Carroll's claim, with his team responding to today's verdict, calling it, in their words, a Democratic-funded Carroll hoax, and saying they will continue to appeal.
Carroll's attorney, Roberta Kaplan, hailed the appeals court's decision, stating that her client was very pleased and emphasizing that Trump's repeated attempts to overturn the jury's findings had been unsuccessful. He remains liable for sexual assault and defamation, Kaplan said in a statement. The case has drawn significant attention as Trump continues to face multiple legal battles while campaigning for a return to the White House. Former President Donald Trump once again forcefully denied accusations of sexual assault and defamation brought by writer E. Jean Carroll, dismissing her claims as a made-up, fabricated story during a press conference at Trump Tower in New York on Friday. His remarks came just moments after his legal team appeared in federal court seeking to overturn a $5 million jury verdict that found him liable for sexually assaulting Carroll in the 1990s and later defaming her. "I've never met this woman," Trump insisted, echoing previous denials that have already led to additional legal consequences. "It's a hoax by someone trying to sell a book." The case stems from a May 2023 civil trial in which a jury unanimously ruled that Trump had sexually abused Carroll in a Manhattan department store dressing room decades earlier and then defamed her by publicly branding her allegations as false. A second trial earlier this year resulted in an even larger $83 million judgment against Trump for further defamatory statements.
Second, the full bench of the Second Circuit Court of Appeals has denied President Trump's appeal of E. Jean Carroll's $5 million civil judgment after a jury found him liable in 2023 for battery and defamation.
Despite the legal setbacks, Trump has continued to attack Carroll's credibility, repeating claims that contributed to the second lawsuit. "She's been pushing this lie for years," he said Friday, before shifting blame to political opponents, suggesting the cases against him were part of a broader effort to damage his presidential campaign. Inside the courtroom, Trump's attorneys argued that the initial $5 million verdict should be thrown out, calling the evidence inflammatory and inadmissible while insisting the case lacked physical proof or direct witnesses. His lawyer, John Sauer, framed the trial as a classic "he said, she said" dispute and sought to disqualify testimony from 2 women who alleged similar misconduct by Trump, claiming their accounts unfairly prejudiced the jury. Carroll's legal team, however, countered that the witnesses were crucial in establishing a pattern of behavior. Donald Trump sexually assaulted her in 1996 and then defamed her in 2022 by calling her a liar, attorney Roberta Kaplan told the court, emphasizing that the jury's decision was based on credible evidence. Trump, who attended the recent hearing, has grown increasingly vocal in his criticism of the lawsuits, even blaming his previous legal advisors for discouraging his testimony in the first trial, a strategy he now believes backfired. Since then, he has taken a more active role in court proceedings, including testifying briefly in the second trial.
She's accusing me of rape. A woman that I have no idea who she is. It came out of the blue. She's accusing me of rape, of raping her. The worst thing you can do, the worst charge, and it never took place. And I will tell you, I made that statement and I said, well, it's politically incorrect. She's not my type. And that's 100% true. She's not my type.
The appeals court's decision could have significant implications as Trump faces mounting legal challenges while campaigning for a return to the White House. Among them is an impending sentencing in his New York criminal hush money case, where a judge is weighing whether to delay the ruling until after the November election. Carroll's legal team has not ruled out pursuing further defamation claims if Trump continues his public denials. All options are on the table, Kaplan told the New York Times, signaling that the former president's latest remarks could provoke another legal battle. Former President Donald Trump's attorneys argued that his appeal of a New York felony conviction should be transferred to federal court, claiming the case involves official acts he undertook as president, a position challenged by state prosecutors who say the request comes too late. The debate unfolded during a one-hour hearing before a three-judge panel of the Second U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals, marking the latest legal maneuver in a case that has significant implications for Trump's political future and the broader question of presidential immunity.
President-elect Donald Trump has lost an appeal in a defamation and sexual abuse case involving columnist E. Jean Carroll. A federal appeals court has ruled Trump will have to pay $5 million in damages to Carroll. She testified that Trump attacked her in a department store dressing room in 1996. Trump says it never happened. The appeals court rejected Trump's argument that the trial judge should not have allowed jurors to hear evidence about his alleged past sexual misconduct, but the court said that evidence established a repeated pattern of conduct consistent with Carroll's accusations. In a different case, a jury ordered Trump to pay Carroll more than $83 million for defaming her and damaging her reputation when he first denied her claim.
Trump was convicted last May on charges of falsifying business records to conceal a hush money payment to adult film actress Stormy Daniels, a case he has since appealed. His legal team now contends that the Supreme Court's July ruling, which granted presidents immunity for official acts, should apply, potentially overturning the conviction. Central to their argument is the claim that Manhattan prosecutors included evidence tied to Trump's presidential duties, such as testimony from former White House Communications Director Hope Hicks. Everything about this cries out for federal court, Trump's attorney Jeffrey Wall told the judges, insisting that the case exceeds state jurisdiction. Prosecutors from the Manhattan District Attorney's Office, however, countered that Trump's team missed their chance to seek a venue change, waiting until after sentencing to file the request. After sentencing, removal is no longer available, argued Stephen Wu, representing the DA's office. He also disputed the notion that evidence presented at trial related to Trump's official responsibilities, comparing it to a postal worker confessing to a crime in the workplace, an act that wouldn't inherently link to their job duties. Wu emphasized that Trump's alleged misconduct, including the falsification of records, was completed before the White House evidence became relevant. The judges appeared to grapple with the unprecedented nature of the case, acknowledging its complexity. One noted that transferring an appeal to federal court would be quite anomalous, while another pointed out that the Supreme Court's immunity ruling used broad language in defining official acts. The panel did not issue an immediate decision, but is expected to release a written opinion later. This hearing follows a September 2023 attempt by Trump's legal team to move the case to federal court, a request rejected by U.S. District Judge Alvin Hellerstein. Trump was sentenced in the hush money case just 10 days before taking office in January, receiving an unconditional discharge with no fines or jail time, though the conviction remains on his record. The New York case was the only one among multiple state and federal indictments against Trump to proceed to trial before his election victory. Notably, his defense attorneys in the case, Todd Blanche and Emil Bove, have since joined the Justice Department, adding another layer of scrutiny to the proceedings. As the appeal unfolds, the outcome could set a precedent for how courts interpret presidential immunity in cases involving personal conduct that intersects with official duties. For Trump, the stakes are particularly high as he campaigns for a second term while navigating an array of legal challenges. The Second Circuit's decision will determine whether his fight to overturn the conviction continues in state or federal court, a distinction that could shape not only his legal fortunes, but also the boundaries of executive accountability. So, what's next for Trump? With this appeal denied, the only remaining option is the U.S. Supreme Court, but legal experts say his chances there are slim. Let us know in the comments what you think of the whole situation, and if you want to stay on top of this, smash that like and subscribe button.